Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem. So we left off Perek Vav, Pasuk Zayin, right? We finished last shiur about the hasagot, the expectations of men versus what he's actually gaining from those expectations. So we're going to continue. Pasuk Zayin, right? Perek Vav, Pasuk Zayin. כל עמל האדם לפיהו, וגם הנפש לא תמלא. It says Shlomo HaMelech, all the toil, all the efforts a man does, לפיהו, is to satisfy his mouth, or to talk and say all, everything that he's doing, everything that he's done, and gain kavod, gain respect, or he will refer also to the satisfaction of what he gains from it, right? He can eat, he can enjoy, he can benefit from it. And even if you say all this, and all this has been acquired and obtained, a nefesh lo timale, he never feels the spirit, the nefesh. He never feels the spirit. Meaning, Shlomo HaMelech is talking about that the phenomenon of that person. We're talking about a person that gets everything. It's osher, he gets, right? He has wealth, he has kavod, he has everything. Yeah? And we understand the ramifications of a person that identifies himself through all this. Says, when a person focuses only on what he's going to show for his efforts, how he will be socially accepted by his efforts, what he's going to benefit on a selfish level from his efforts, says all these toiling at the end of the day does not satisfy whatsoever the soul of a person, the spirit of the person. It doesn't build you spiritually. It doesn't build you emotionally. All it does
it hurt you?
Bevadai it hurts you. Bevadai it hurts you. Well, he says, he's going to say, we're going to go, right? טוב מראה עיניים מהלך נפש, גם זה הבל ורעות רוח. It's a waste of time, right? It's a bad trait. It's a bad trait. Basically, what Shlomo HaMelech is telling us, when a person, what is the motivation of a person? We're going back to our last year. What motivates you? If what's motivating you to be excelling in sports, to be excelling in business, it's just so that when you're social and you're with your friends, you can talk about it and feel good about saying things, right? And if you think about it, a lot of the marketing tools and psychology is based on what people say about what I'm about to do, what I'm about to own. You go, and if you want to go and buy clothes, okay, there's always a mannequin that's wearing the clothes, and he's always good looking and 6 foot tall and well structured, and everything suits perfectly on him, right? That projects an image in your mind of what it looks, but really of how you're going to look in that clothes. The only difference is that your formology, your body structure is not like the body structure of the mannequin. So you're never going to look like the mannequin. But it's an illusion that you create in your mind in order to feel good about yourself and say, oh, this is how people are going to perceive me. So if to me this guy looks great, I'm going to look great in the eyes of the person, and therefore this is what I want. If the motive, if the purpose is just to be socially accepted, to be able to talk about it or to taste something, you're never going to fill in your nefesh. You're never going to have an internal growth. כי מה יותר לחכם מן הכסיל? מה לעני יודע? להלוך נגד החיים. זה שהוא המלך, what is the benefit that the Chacham has over the fool? What benefits does he have? מה לעני יודע? If the person is poor in his essence, he's not gaining anything. להלוך נגד החיים. And what's the point? Because at the end of the day, all the efforts that that person is doing goes against life. What does it mean against life? All these efforts will never benefit the life that's in him, the existence that's in him. There's no life into it. All there is just a dynamic that puts a person in a social environment for him to be socially accepted and respected. But there's no life. There's no life. It goes against life. What is life? The creation, the exteriorization of your potential is when you realize yourself. But if you don't realize yourself, you only realize what you want to, or what tastes good to you, what benefits you at the moment, or if you bring out only what is socially accepted, then you really benefited. You never really invested in your own life.
So Rav, what's the core belief that you need to have? Because we established the fact that it's human nature, right? It's in us to chase after kavod. It's almost like built in us, and you have to harness it, and you have to channel it towards a different purpose. What's the core belief that keeps you grounded, so that when you see yourself chasing that kavod, chasing that social acceptance, that you say, okay, I got to get back to center to that belief?
What's the core belief or the core essence of what keeps you grounded?
Like, as an example, right? If you say, if someone asked you, what's your foundation for not straying in a marriage, right? And your foundation would be how important family is, and how you could destroy the family, and if you keep the family good, the benefits of keeping a good family, and a legacy, and whatever you do will pass on to your children. So what's that core belief, so that when, because I could tell you, even for myself, I find myself, one of my biggest challenges is fighting that urge for the kavod. I always want to, rein it back. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're horseback riding, rein back the horse. And how do you do that? You need the pull to say, this is why you need to rein it back.
The answer is in the beginning of the 7th perek. Shlomo HaMelech will say, Tov mishemen tov v'yom ha'mavet miyom hivaledo, Tov lalechet el bet evel, milechet el bet mishte, ba'asher hu sof kol ha'adam ve'achai, and the person that's alive, iten libo, will give his heart, will give the attention to the importance and the core value that stimulates you to go and become better. So the answer to your question is the second pasuk in Perek Zayin. I'm going to get there.
Very good.
And that's actually what the 7th Perek is going to come and introduce is, okay, so what are those core values that you can lean on in order to save yourself from failure and from being drifted to something else?
I want to make an admission of guilt. Literally yesterday, somebody provoked me, and they knew they were doing it, and they were so good at it, and I succumbed, and I felt so bad. I felt guilty the entire day after that. They were provoking me to see, what I would say, is this guy better than you? Oh, you're not as good as this guy. And they were, and I fought it off for the first couple of comments, and then I just cracked, and then I was like, oh, the whole night I'm thinking about it. I go, oh, why did I just do that? Why did I just do that? I'm working so hard to not do that. But so that's why I want to know what that core is, so that in those moments of provocation, I can, get back to that center.
Yeah, we're going to get there. We're going to get very good, very good, very good. Those pillars are coming.
No, not very good, very bad. I need to fix it.
No, yeah. The fact that you're aware of it is actually very good. So when, even if what's the difference if your behavior and when you have everything that you're given, kavod, money, wisdom, what differentiates you, what makes you better than a fool, right? If anyways at the end, what are you gaining from like, what's the difference between you being rich or poor, you being chacham versus a fool? If everything that you do goes against the whole the whole productivity of life. Good?
Yes.
Tov mar'eh einayim mehalach nafesh. The nature is what? Why is that? What happens in our subconscious that leads us to this such a behavior? Tov mar'eh einayim. I want to be able to see. I want to be able to enjoy. Tov mar'eh einayim. What you see in the eyes is good. Is good. The image that you create, the surrounding that you put yourself with, the illusion is very satisfying. Mehalach nefesh, it's better than the path to build your own essence. Building your own essence is between you and yourself. So there's really no satisfaction, immediate satisfaction. The only satisfaction you get is when, like you say, like you work on yourself, and then you face a situation like this, and you overcome it. Between you and yourself, you feel great, but it's a self satisfaction, and it's very, very different than the cheap, common satisfaction
from
of
someone else.
The acknowledgement of the eye of the other.
It's so true.
So he says, have this, and gamze hevel ve'orot ruach. That's also terrible. When you live your life and you let go of your life production, and you focus on the illusion, then it's heaven. It's so futile. Orot ruach. It's a bad way of living your life. It's a bad spirit. Ma shaya כבר נקרא שמו, ונודע אשר הוא אדם. It says what happened in the past has already been defined. Meaning, the social standards have been already put in place, right? You go into a situation, you go into a society where things have been defined. We know what's good, we know what's bad, we know what's accepted. You already, when you come to this world, when you grow in your own surrounding, there's certain things that you know will prevail your actions and will dictate your actions. For example, within the community, it's normal to work to have a housing deal, right? It's normal. It's a pashut. You're abnormal if you don't have it.
Standard.
Right? That's the standard. That go to a different community and they tell you, who cares? No, it's standard what? To go on vacation 3 times a year. And if you don't, the house, who cares about the house? Depending where you grew up, there are standards that the past dictates on your behavior. Venoda, and from that is understood, is defined, Asher Adam, that you are a man, that, meaning you're the man that your surrounding, that your past, that the past of your surrounding has dictated. Velo yuchal ladin. You cannot go against it. Things have been already anchored and set for you. By people, by situations that are much stronger than you. Meaning you've had strong, impulsive people, ideologies that instituted and put in place a system. Mm-hmm. And you cannot fight it. You're only a man, right? You come from the earth. So what really will define you? If you come from the earth and you're really nothing, what will define you? Your ability to coexist and align with whatever system you grow in, and you flourish in, right? The more you blend into your own society, and the more you are a success to that society. You take a Hasidic Jew, right? The more he blends to behave like a Hasidic Jew in his community, the more he's successful in the eyes of that society, and the more he feels successful because he's being acknowledged by the society. Right. Take that person out of that system, okay? And you know what? He still does keep Shabbat, does everything 100% the same. The only difference is that now he wears a suit instead of wearing the long robe. He doesn't wear the hat anymore. Will wear a baseball hat, and instead of being black and white all day long, he's going to wear gray suits and blue suits, and something that's absolutely normal in our community. Yeah, how is he going to be seen and looked at? He's got in the eyes of the society he was brought up. That's it. He's a failure. Right. He's a failure. He broke the rules of his environment. Says Shlomo Melech, when a person comes to this world, you have to, everything has already been in place. And the person is like, look, who am I to come and change? Just people stronger than me, better than me. They've set the tone. They've set the tone. Who am I? I mean, I'm only a man. And I will not change anything anyways. So might as well live within that ecosystem and be the best at it. This person basically let go of his opportunity, of his potential to really be him, and learn from the best and gain the best and take the best and really become who he's supposed to become. Why? Because he has identified that this is the psychology. I want immediate satisfaction. I want to focus on the pleasure of my eye. I want social acceptance. I don't want to deal with peer pressure. I don't want to start changing things that have been put in place. This is the system I'm in. And this is, it is what it is. It is what it is. And I'm a nobody anyways. I'm a man. So what can I change? I cannot change anything. That philosophy forces a person to drift from a real accomplishment of his true essence and become what his society really wants. To give an example that relates to us a little bit more, you take somebody that wants to grow in religion. Like we have a normal, from a regular family, normal, okay. Eat out, this, that. Because I see, because people come and ask me many times. Wearing the kippah outside, it doesn't matter what it is. Listen, I can't. We go out. We go to restaurants. I can't wear the kippah. We have people don't wear kippah outside, or it looks weird, right? So you mold into a system, and you choke your desire of growth. Why? Because of the satisfaction of being socially accepted. Number one, because of your belief that you are born in a system that you cannot change because you are the system, you are part of the system, and you don't have the strength to do it. You're only a man. So as long as you live through the system, you can never grow. You can benefit from the system, you can learn from the system, but at the end, you have to be able to grow on your own and flourish. And you know what? And if the system can stop you from drifting and doing something bad, you lean on the system. So you benefit from the system, but you are not consumed. You are not submissive to the system.
But we're assuming the system, we're only looking at the negative of the system. So assume there's somebody within the system that can put you on the right path.
And that you take it, no, you benefit from it. No, the opposite, that's what I'm saying. You
Yes.
benefit from the good and you learn from the bad, but you develop your own growth. כי יש דברים הרבה מרבים הבל. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things.
What you're saying is that there's a lot of good to being part of the system that you're able to benefit from, but ultimately it still chokes you no matter what, as long as you're living as a part of the system. Because you can't break the mold. Otherwise, you're not part of the system.
Correct. So he says, יש דברים הרבה מרבים הבל. The distraction is so big that creates futility around you. מה יותר לאדם, right? That what is he benefiting from all this? From all that, those extra futilities, all those extra the word I'm trying distractions. You're getting a lot. Like Rashi talks about the kings, where they have a lot of horses. They have a lot of toys, right? Toys. He says there's so many toys that distracts you. Well, so? Mayoter la'adam, like what do you benefit from that? What does it add? Mayoter la'adam, what does it add to man? What does it add to you? All those toys, all that fertility, all the distraction. Again, why is there all this distraction? Because this distraction is the social acceptance and what your social environment dictates. So when you live through the eyes of society, you feel weak, you're choked, you're a nobody, you're under control of a system, you are under the futility and the distraction of whatever that society puts in front of you. And at the end, all it did is drift you from your true focus, which is the expression and revelation of your true essence. And he says, "Mi yodea ma tov la'adam b'chayim, mispar yemei hayeh hevelo." He says, you have a lot of moments. You have moments of enjoyment. Tov la'adam b'chayim, where he lives and he's enjoying life. And those moments are really heaven. Those are moments of futility. It's not moments you gain everything, you grew from. It's time that wasted. V'ya'asem katzel, right? And overall, it's like a shadow. You see something, but you never really see him. You've done things, you have an image. You have a shadow of things you've done. A person you've become. But it's never you. It's only a shadow. It's a reflection. It's a reflection of what you think the surrounding wants from you. אשר מי יגיד לאדם מה יהיה אחריו תחת השמש? at the end of the day, what is left from all this? What did you keep? What were you able to leave from all that, from all those efforts and work under the sun? What did you leave? You didn't leave anything. You left a shadow. Yes, a beautiful shadow, a big shadow, a nice shadow, but it's a shadow. It's only a reflection. So who am I? Basically, Shlomo HaMelech is saying, who are you? Are you a reflection of the system you live in, or are you really yourself?
What is the proper mirror in order to reflect on that question?
Well, every person knows what he has in his heart. Okay? People know, you know, when you do something because it's the right thing, or you do it because you want to be cool. Yeah. Let's be honest. And we all know. You get dressed. Do you get dressed because you want to? You need to feel good about yourself, and you respect yourself, or you get dressed just because when you go out, people can say how good looking you are. It's a very fine line. It's a very fine line. Very fine line. Again, it goes back to the difference of being wealthy and feeling rich. You understand what I'm saying?
I do.
So you have to ask yourself a question. You wear a beautiful tie, Hermes beautiful tie. You have to ask yourself, do I care if I'm going to get it dirty or not? Do I want people to see it? Or I wear it for myself. You wear a suit, right? Does it have to have a sign that it's Tom Ford for everybody to know? Or the opposite, you don't want the sign and you're going to go and you're going to pay extra just so that the sign is not there. And you couldn't care less what people think, but you wear it for yourself because you love it. This is the question you ask yourself when you're about to do something and you want to know if you do it for the right reason or you do it for the klal.
It's funny, I read in Rambam, I forget which book I was reading. I was reading one of Rambam's books. And one of the things he mentioned was that he suggests that you never wear purple and you never wear gold, because those two colors are attract the most attention of all the colors. And I always found it, fascinating that it was, if you really think about it, and that applies to everything. It's not just colors, right? If you dig deeper, it's whether it's logos or whether it's anything. It's really just a blanket statement of things that you have to ask yourself the question: why did he choose purple and gold? It's not that they are any different from any of the colors. It's just that those things attract more eyes the same way a logo will attract more eyes.
Sure.
I always love that.
Sure. Well, the whole concept of branding, the DNA of a brand, okay, is the attraction from people. That's what it is. Before, before the explosion of LVMH, you didn't have branding. You had art. You have craftsmen. You had a guy that knew how to make great shoes, right? He was making amazing shoes. He wasn't a brand. He was just a good shoemaker. And then you have those major corporations that took the know-how and turned it into a brand. And who cares after that of the know-how? That's it. Once I have a stamp on it, it's enough. Everybody's driven towards it.
It's true. I remember when I made this switch, like even playing tennis, I always wore Nike sneakers my entire life playing tennis because I thought it was cool. And the more I played, the more I realized they're the worst tennis sneakers on the entire planet. No, if you had to tell me all the tennis sneakers in the world, Nike is by far the worst. And then I found something that is far less attractive looking, but the performance and the quality is 10 times better. And I said, wow, what a moron I was for all these years because of this little check that I needed to have, that I was literally making myself worse just so that I was wearing the sneaker. It's the craziest thing. And you don't realize it. You just keep doing it.
That's exactly the point of Shlomo HaMelech. That's exactly what he's saying. He's saying, realize how moron you are. I mean, not you, but a person has to tell himself, how moron am I that I'm sacrificing myself just to be socially accepted, just to be cool.
I made myself worse for all these years. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, what could have been if I just used these sneakers all this time?
That's exactly the point. That's exactly the point of Shlomo HaMelech. To get to a level of integrity where you can separate the identity bond, okay, that you think you have with society, and learn to benefit from it without being it.
I'll tell you a great story. My dad, when he started at Vornado, they have a corporate policy of wearing dark suits and ties every day to work. My dad, if you know anything about him going to work, he doesn't wear suits and ties. He never wears a tie. So he comes in the first day to the office. He's wearing black jeans, a black long sleeve t-shirt, and black Nikes. He walks into the boardroom and everyone's wearing blue and gray suits with white shirts and ties. And they look at him, they says, no, I don't think you got the memo when we sent it out. We have a corporate dress policy. And he says, oh no, I got the memo. He says, but he goes, it's very simple. He goes, either I'm going to be comfortable and work better, or I'm going to look like all of you and work worse. Which one do you want? And they all shut up. They says, wear whatever you want.
Yeah, but there's a flip side to it also, which is this is good for one person when he knows what he's doing and what his purpose is. But when you're part of a system, sometimes you need to mold into what the system expects from you. So when you're dressed a certain way, or you come with a tie, it imposes it dictates a certain standard.
By the way, maybe his dress is also dictating what he wants to dictate. You understand? It also says something on the flip side of it, right? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So, okay, so we just finished the 7th perek.
6th.
No, 6th.
The 6th perek, sorry. The 6th perek. We're just going to go quickly through the first 2 pesukim, just to start the perek, and we'll dive into it.
This is a famous one, this first one.
That's right. Tov, Shem, Mishemen, Tov. Right? And basically it continues what we just spoke, right? Instead of being a good oil, what's a good oil? How do you define a good oil?
Just something that lasts.
Yes.
Rashi
the
says
definition of a good oil, it's something that is defined by people. People will define if it's good or not. Right?
Yep.
So it says, Tov Shem, you better off having a good name. Okay? The good name is also something that's reflective to people. But it's your actions, it's you. A Shem, a name comes and identifies a person. It identifies the essence of a person. So you're better off having a name, meaning having an essence that is good, that you brought out your true essence, than just being socially accepted. V'yom hamavet, and the benefit, okay, to get there, v'yom hamavet miyom yivaledu. Having in mind the day of death, right, is better than the happiness of the day you were born. I mean, you benefit more from having in mind,
Begin with the end in mind.
yes. Then just being happy that I'm here. The day you're born is, guys, today is a great day. The world has to say thank you. I came to the world. Today I came to the world. Yeah. That has a much, much, much negative effect, or worse effect, or less of a positive effect than knowing that your time is limited, and you have to make sure that at the end you have a Shem, and you have a Shem Tov, and you take advantage of the time. And to get there, how do you get there? Tov lalechet el bet evel milechet el bet mishteh. You get more knowledge and more introspection when you go to the house of someone that's mourning than when you go to a party. Because it makes you reflect that all men come to an end. And if you're alive, meaning if you have life in you, you will dive into that message, and you will elevate yourself from that message, and you will strengthen yourself from that message. Okay?
Yes.
Very good. Very good. So, Be'ezrat Hashem.
We didn't answer the question, though, the previous question. Are we going to get to it next time?
Your question is in those pesukim, yes.
Okay, so we're not there yet.
It's in those pesukim. It's what is the fundamental, or what is the value,
core belief,
the core belief that you need to have in order to be able to put things in perspective.
Yes. And it's this, and it's Tov Shem Mishem and Tov.
It's Tov lalechet el bet ha'avel milechet el bet ha'mishteh. When you put in perspective time, futility of life,
right?
That's when you can.
If I asked myself a question, God forbid, if today was my last day, and I said that conversation that I succumbed to, and I said, okay, what would they say about that conversation, right? If it was the end, God forbid, they would actually take it as arrogance, right? And the content wouldn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Rather, because they don't care who's better and who's worse at the end. They don't care. Nobody cares, right? But the trade in which you handle it is what's spoken about.
That's right.
And then I would have never, if I was thinking of that, and if that was strong in my head and that it was really deeply embedded, I would have never cracked. I got it.
Dove.
Thank you, Rob.
Okay, Rob.
Love
Thank
you.
you so much.
So we'll see you tomorrow, right? God willing, 11 o'clock?
Yes.
Tomorrow?
Great. Beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.